All right, we're going to briefly talk through the infant attachment cycle. You might be thinking, why are we talking about babies? Why are we talking about infants? But this is really a core understanding when we're getting into knowing trauma and trauma's impact. So, for many kids who have experienced relational trauma, there has been disruptions in their attachment processes, attachment cycles from an early age, from infancy. If you've been with us before, you have likely heard some of these topics already, but we want to emphasize just how important it is and valuable it is to continue to get this teaching and this learning. So stick with us, and hopefully some of these are still familiar to you if you've heard it before. So think real fast to a baby. Imagine that when a baby is born, they have an empty yes bucket that needs to be filled. Babies have a lot of needs. They have physical needs, like food and like having their diaper changed, all sorts of things like that. But they also have emotional needs, okay? So they need touch, they need play, they need comfort. When a baby has a need, God gave them a really important tool to get their need met, and that is their voice. They can't talk, they can't, use specific words, but they still have a voice. They can cry when they have a need. And so when a baby cries, their caregiver, who's attuned to their cry and to their needs, is going to come and meet their needs. So if they have a wet diaper, we're going to change their diaper. If they're hungry, we're going to feed them. If they're cold, we're going to warm them. If they just need comfort, if it's 6 p.m. and that baby is crying, we're just going to hold and rock that baby, right? So whenever that baby cries, the attuned caregiver is going to meet their needs. We're adding a yes to that yes bucket. They cry and I say, yes, let me come and meet your need. And so as the baby continues to grow and has needs over and over and over again every single day, their yes bucket continues to get filled throughout their first year of life. And so what this is doing is it's creating the attachment cycle. Okay, so baby has a need, the baby cries, the caregiver meets the need, and trust is developed. It's a beautiful cycle that happens over and over. And we see a lot of things happening even within this attachment cycle. So for instance, when the baby cries, it's going to release cortisol in their body, which is going to also connect with their central nervous system to release tears, to make them sweat and become red, and show their distress physically. Okay, so all these things are happening as the baby is sad, is crying, and it has a specific need. When the parent comes to meet the need, it's going to connect back to the other side. So cortisol is going to lower and dopamine is going to start to be released to calm the baby. The sympathetic nervous system then is able to connect with the parasympathetic nervous system, which is going to dry up the tears, calm the baby, slow down the heart rate, all of these things. So when there's distress, we connect, the baby experiences comfort. Okay, so this is going to happen over and over and over again. And as the baby has their needs met, it's laying the foundation for healthy brain chemistry and the foundation for trust, as well as mental health. All of these things are connected to this baby's very early experiences. Okay, so now think about the other end of it. If a baby does not have a caregiver who is attuned and able to meet their needs, then the same thing is going to happen. The baby is going to cry when it's hungry or cold or whatever, but it does not have the caregiver coming into the middle of that cycle able to meet their needs. So what's going to happen is the baby's going to get stuck. So rather than have cortisol that can be calmed with dopamine, they're going to have heightened levels of cortisol. They're not going to build connections between their sympathetic nervous system and their parasympathetic nervous system, because that caregiver was not able to meet them. When babies between the ages of 0 to about 18 months cannot meet their needs themselves, they do not know or have the ability to regulate and to calm themselves. They have to have an external factor, meaning a parent or a caregiver, an adult, do that for them. We are teaching them how to calm and how to regulate through this attachment cycle. So if a baby didn't have those needs met, they don't have the foundation for healthy regulation later in life as a child or even as an adult. So we see a lot of these instances at camp. Campers who don't know how to regulate often become distressed really easily, or are really unpatterned at how they're even trying to connect with us as adults or as leaders, because they didn't have this attachment established and modeled for them at a healthy age. So understand, kind of really read through this and get an understanding of what the attachment cycle is, because we are going to be interacting with it throughout our camp and as we continue to discuss trauma-informed care and how we're going to be practicing it. So you need to understand this background in order to have the best practices that we can.